Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to my cabin out here at St. Bernard Acres. How y'all are? This is Saturday, December 13th. Snowmegedon. Oh, we got a snowstorm running through. And nothing big. I mean, we're talking a few inches, probably 5 inches, 7 inches, something like that. Nothing to get into a panic about like everybody is. It's so crazy. You listen to the news, you listen to the Weather Channel, you listen to prepper channels, and some of these people, everything is just so overly dramatized. They want bad things to happen so bad. This is nothing. In 1974, I was in Chillicothe for the blizzard in Chillicothe, Ohio. That was 2 weeks before you could even get out of your house hardly. You could get out of a driveway. It took a long time to recover from that. This is, nothing. It's going to be a wet winter, they said. There's going to be a lot more snow this winter than we've had the last couple years, and that's okay. Because we do this thing called preparing and being prepared. That's his channel, SBA Prepping and Survival. I am prepared to survive the snow Armageddon if it ever comes. I'll give it my best shot anyway. But it got me to thinking about something, right? I follow a lot of prepper channels, and they've all kind of like they've run out the whole gamut. They're out of things to say. They got this big subscriber base. Their channels are failing, so they're being just crazy about it. But I still watch because occasionally you'll hear a gem. It's like, you know what? I could modify that to my situation, and that's a good idea. I might try that. So I hang with them, But a couple of them did something this week that really shocked me and showed me, that they're not thinking. They're so worried about getting content out, right? That they don't think about what they're telling their subscribers and their followers and the people who listen to them to try to learn how to be preppers. Even FEMA says you need a couple weeks worth of supplies. But why would a prepper worry about getting into town to get groceries and get supplies before the snowstorm comes? Really? I don't understand that one. And if you had to, why would you make a video admitting that you did that? I can't figure it out. I'm going to tell you my situation here at the cabin, right? This is St. Bernard Acres. I'm building a house. I'm trying to build a homestead out here. I got the barn, and I built this cabin a few years ago. You could bring on 3 feet of snow, lock me in here for a month that I couldn't get out. I would not have an issue. I don't have to run to the store to get supplies, right? I'm ready. Bring it on. It'd be a great test. I would love to see it. But I'm going to try to quickly run down how I'm prepared out here and why I don't need to worry about anything. Redundancy is key in prepping. 1 is none, 2 is 1. 3 is 2, that kind of thing. For heat, I have a ventless wall-mounted propane heater. Behind the cabin, I have a 100-gallon tank. That's about 23, 24 of the 20-pound tanks for your grill and everything is in that 100 gallons. Now, they only fill the tank up about 80% because of expansion they have to have and everything. But that's filled up at the beginning of every winter. So I have plenty of heat in here. If I run out of propane, I have electric heaters. Right? Well, Joe, these storms, they knock out power. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. I have kerosene heaters. I have 55 gallons or 50 gallons of kerosene in the barn. Kerosene doesn't go bad, right? So I have plenty. One of those kerosene heaters would heat this place up in about 5 minutes. I'd be turning it off. I've got this well insulated. I'd have to run it on low and open a couple windows, but that would heat me for a month without a problem. So, and eventually I'll have a wood-burning stove in here. So I'll have 4 heat sources available to me immediately. If the power goes out, I've got generators. I have 3 generators on site. 2 of them, one of them I have to fix, but 2 of them, when I got here this morning, I fired both of them up, ran them for about 15 or 20 minutes, checked everything, made sure they were all good in case I have to have them, because I didn't know what the storm was going to do. But at least once a month, they're started, they're run through, just checked out and ready to go if needed. So I have all of my solar left. This used to be off-grid until I decided to build the house out here and everything, and I ran electric. I could set my solar back up in a couple of hours, and I would have power. So multiple forms of power that I can get to. Cooking. I have my 2-burner stovetop. I have a toaster oven. I have a grill. I have a griddle. I have a fire ring I could build a fire in. Multiple ways of cooking. Water. I have rain catchment for the cabin. That might freeze up. It's a little 100-gallon system, all just for this cabin. I have a tote down by the house I'm building that has 240 gallons of potable water in it. That would take a whole lot more to freeze. But even if that happened, 150, 200 yards down the road at Bobby's house, right at the road, edge of the road there, he has a spring box that was there. Has never frozen, is always full of cold, clear water that I could go down there and get filter. I have about 15 gallons of water inside the cabin right now that I bring from home, and just have in case I need it. And I got a couple of cases of bottled water for drinking water. But I also have a filter system. So multiple options for water. That's what you got to have, I have food. I have a pantry. I have shelves, right? I got 15, 20 cans of soup. I got cans of chicken, cans of tuna, cans of beef. I got peanut butter and jelly. I got vegetables. I got macaroni and cheese. I got in the freezer, I got some hamburgers. I got some Italian sausages. I got one of my andouille sausages I'm going to cook for dinner tomorrow night with potatoes and onions and green peppers. I have food. Right? In the barn, I have freeze-dried food that will last me a year. I have vacuum-sealed bags of beans and rice and flour and sugar and oatmeal and enough to last me a long time. Everything is here. I didn't have to go anywhere to get anything. It's always here. What I use during my visits out here, I come out here, I spend 3 or 4 days a week out here. Once a month, I place an order with Walmart for everything I've used. They bring it out to me. It's delivered the day I get here. I put everything away. I rotate all of my stock. So it's always here and it's always fresh. Right? That's how simple this is, folks. It's not difficult to get prepared, right? Am I going to have fresh milk? No, I can't get fresh milk, but I have powdered milk if I have to have milk. Fresh bread. Can I get fresh bread? No, not going to be able to go to the store and get fresh bread, but guess what? I have flour, I have sugar, I have baking soda, I have oil, I have yeast. I can make bread. I can make flatbread. I've got cans of the Grands biscuits, 5 of them in a can. I can make me a batch of biscuits in the toaster oven if I need fresh bread. You know, it's all here. So I have a challenge for all those YouTube people, because you can do this too. I'm telling you what, if SHTF really happened, at least 85% of the population is going to die. Because they have no preparation. The people that don't die are the ones who are going to be looting and stealing everything and killing people to get to their preps. You know? That's the only ones who'll survive. Half of these big time preppers on YouTube, I don't think will survive. You know? I mean, it goes back to my most important prepping items that I think about the most, that I think is the most important. Number one is knowledge. You have to learn all of this stuff. I learned everything out here. I can fix everything because I put everything in. I learned it all. And seeds. You have to have seeds. You know, I always said I want enough food out here to last until my first harvest. You know, seeds is extremely important. But I could come out here and survive just fine. You know, and not be hungry. I've got a 30-day supply. I take blood pressure medicine. I got a 30-day supply out here that I could stretch out to 60 or 90 days if I had to. I've been losing weight. I've been eating healthier. My blood pressure medicine started out 40 milligrams. I'm down to 10. Another couple of months, I'll be down to 5 milligrams. You know, so I'm eventually going to wean myself off of that entirely, and I won't have to worry about it. But I got plenty of first aid. I got plenty of ibuprofen, you know. Everything. It's just set. It didn't cost a ton of money. You know, same thing at home. We have plenty there if something happened. You know, a can of soup will last, one can of soup will last me 2 days. That's 2 meals. But I got plenty of crackers. You know, like I said, I can make some flatbread if I needed to or whatever. But yeah, I challenge you preppers, you guys who are real big time preppers teaching the world how to be preppers. Show us how you live off of your preps for 2 weeks. Show us what you cook, what you eat, how you deal with not having water because municipal utilities are out, you don't have electricity. Show us how you do that, any of you. I challenge you. You know, do 2 weeks on your preps and show us. That's all I got to say. You know, my advice to the normal person, just buy a little extra. Just have it there. You know, use it. My gasoline, I probably got 25 gallons of gas, like I said. I rotate it. So I always have about 20, 25 gallons. That'll run for days. That'll run a generator if I have to run it. You know, I got probably 10 gallons left of diesel for my tractor if I need to use my tractor to go somewhere. You know, if I can't get out with my truck, I can use my tractor to plow the driveway and plow my road to get out of here if I had to. You know, just simple little steps to be prepared. Doesn't cost you a whole lot of money. But think about it. Don't be one of those people that has to go to the grocery store, you know, 5 hours before the snow starts. Because there's not going to be anything left. If this is indicative of what it's going to be like if SHTF happens, you're never going to be able to get anything to eat. What you have is all you're ever going to have. Think about that. Appreciate y'all hanging with me. Let me know your thoughts on it. But this is Joe out here. Remember to subscribe, like, share, all that kind of stuff. But this is Joe out here at my cabin at St. Bernard Acres. Peace out, everybody. I'm out.